Hola, hi guys, this is Gerard live from Portan.org. We are in Malaga, Spain for the international test drive of the new Mercedes-Benz GLB SUV, which comes in 5 and 7 seat configurations. This exact example here is the AMG version of the GLB, the 35 4MATIC. Right now I'm here to take you on a tour of this car to show you some of its design highlights, outside and inside. Starting at the front, you can see it's a rather boxy shape. It's not as what you would expect from a regular Mercedes-Benz SUV of like the GLC or GLE, which is a bit curvier in appearance. It's a boxy, utilitarian kind of look. At the front you get rather squared headlamps. This is the Panamericana grille. It's a rather long bonnet, rather high riding bonnet as well. Down the sides of the car you can see it has all the plastic body cladding. Large wheels, 21-inch in this instance, roof rails, everything you expect from an SUV. In terms of its size, it's roughly about the same dimensions as a GLC, but it has a much higher roof compared to the GLC. Once again, from the side you can tell it's a very boxy shape. Whether you're a fan of that or not, that's up to you, but it certainly helps in terms of practicality and getting people into the car, especially when you have a third row of seats. With such a high roofline, you do get quite a bit of practicality, as you can tell from the boot. It's rather cavernous, there's a lot of space to it, and this is before you put the seats down. I will assume you can fit 3 large luggage bags without much concern, and if you fold the seats down, you have even more space than that. Right, so we're now inside the new Mercedes-Benz GLB. As you can see, the layout is rather familiar. You still get the triple aircon vents in the middle, the MBUX system. As this is meant to portray like a rugged, utilitarian kind of SUV, you do get this nice cylindrical style trim on the doors and on the dashboard. But aside from that, if you've been in an A-Class, it's rather familiar. As you can see, the viewing angles are pretty great. I have a clear view of all my blind spot angles and everything. The switchgear materials and all feel rather nice. This even comes with the Burmeister sound system, if you can believe it. Let's check out what life is like at the back. Alright, so we are here in the rear of the Mercedes-Benz GLB. I'm 170 centimeters tall. I have quite a bit of leg room and yeah, plenty of headroom as you can see. If you're thinking why I'm sitting quite upright, because I haven't reclined the seat yet, which you can do up to about this much of an angle, so it does make things more comfortable. And you can also adjust the sliding seats forward and back. It's a rather practical SUV. We have rear vents as well. And yeah, it's pretty neat. So to get to the back, it's a manually operated seat. So you pull this handle, the whole thing slides forward, then there's a room for you to enter. It's a bit tight, so I think children would find it easier. For an adult like me, it's a bit of a struggle. Okay. So now I'm in the back and I'm going to move the chair back to its original position. So, well, as you can see, there's not a lot of room for me left. My legs are completely tucked underneath the seat. My knees barely even touch the backrest here. But if I move the seat a little bit far forward, like so, then it's rather decent, I would say. But for long journeys, I don't think it's the most comfortable thing, but it's good to know that you actually can carry 7 people if you want to, but I think children would be more appropriate for the rearmost seat. Hey guys, so it's been quite a long day. We've driven the new GLB. Here's my first impressions on the GLB 35. First up, it's a very decent sitting position. It's rather comfortable for me. As a performance SUV, I would wish the bolsters were a little bit thicker or you could adjust them so they could grip you a little bit better, because there is quite a lot of power from this engine. The 2-litre engine makes about 302 horsepower, 400 cubic meters of torque, and you'll get from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.2 seconds. It's ridiculously fast. For something of this size to go that quickly, to get up to speed, it's kind of amazing. At the same time, it's also rather scary. It's interesting because you do have adaptive dampers, and we set it to the harder setting in Sport Plus, but it's still not the most convincing to want to push a car like this. I mean, as an SUV of this size, you wouldn't want to push it anyway, but it has its abilities, but up to a certain degree. On normal roads where most of the time we're in comfort mode, it's relatively comfortable. It's a little bit stiff given the size of the wheels, 21-inch for the GLB 35, but on most of European roads where it's already rather smooth, nothing like what we have in PJ for instance, it's supple, pliant, there are no sudden jolts. Transitions between different parts of road which are a bit rougher, you do feel it once in a while, but it's not something that's very jarring or shocking to the cabin. This being the AMG Performance variant, the main display in front of you is configurable to display a few different styles, Sport, Super Sport, Comfort. Super Sport is being an AMG equivalent. You also get a few extra drive modes scattered in between which you have to fiddle around in the MBUX system. This steering wheel is the optional AMG Performance steering wheel, so you get two sets of controls in the bottom left and right of the steering wheel, one to quickly change drive modes, the other to change things like the AMG dynamic system or the adaptive dampers, which has 3 modes. So driving this around the streets of Spain, roads are rather narrow, but from where I'm sitting, it looks big from the outside, but from the inside it's rather easy to handle. It's quite easy to navigate, to basically tread through tighter roads. There's also a bunch of other safety items like lane keep assist, autonomous emergency braking, a heads-up display so you don't have to take your eyes off the road. And one neat trick is the navigation function comes with an augmented reality mode. So as you're approaching a certain corner or a certain turn, the front camera actually turns on and you get like an augmented reality view of where the corner should be and whether you should turn in, or it could be the next lane just a little bit up ahead. So that's rather convenient. We're not sure if such a feature will come to our side of the world, but it's good to know that a car like this in the compact segment is still rather well equipped. Hey guys, we are now in the GLB 250 Formatic. So this version of the 7-seat SUV comes with 221 horsepower, 350 cubic meters of torque, and you'll get from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.9 seconds. This particular unit comes with the adaptive suspension. It's quite a good cruiser, I would say. It's not bouncy in any way despite the ride height of around 200 millimeters. It's quite serene, quiet. The only noise we get is probably from the rather upright A-pillars at higher speeds, but we're doing about 100 kilometers an hour currently, and it's quite pleasant. Personally, I feel like this is the best variant of the car to get. The GLB 35 is quite extreme. It's, I would say, a bit of an overkill given the size of the rims and the harshness of the ride. So this is rather a good compromise with the smaller wheels as well. So we are now driving the GLB 200, which is the base version of the SUV. It features a 4-cylinder engine, about 1.33 liters of displacement, so it makes about 161 horsepower, 250 Newton meters of torque. In terms of 0 to 100, it takes about 9 seconds to get there. Around town, this engine is rather usable, but when you do push it, it does get a little bit loud and feels a bit unrefined, very un-Mercedes-Benz-like about it. Between the two, I feel the GLB 250 is a better option because the engine feels less like it's having to do a lot of work, push as hard to get the speed that you want to. For what it is, the GLB is actually quite an interesting product for Mercedes-Benz because it's their first compact car that offers up to 3 rows of seats, And for families who don't consider a GLA like a viable option to be a family car, the GLB is actually really worth it. There's plenty of space for front and rear passengers. The third row is quite good, but it's mainly catered for children. This is actually a very well sorted, practical, usable SUV. And you wouldn't call it a compromise product, I would say. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels like a proper Mercedes-Benz product. As for when this car is coming, we don't officially have a launch date yet, but we are told to expect probably the GLB 200 or the GLB 250. The GLB 35, sadly, we think might be a bit too expensive and a bit overkill for customers back home. If you need a Mercedes-Benz which can carry 7 people, it's comfortable, relatively powerful, it's quite a good bet.